This tutorial introduces ScrapeMap's log and explains the functionality that can be found in the Details tab of the Properties dialog. Let's begin the tutorial by opening a ScrapeMap. I'm going to use the least expensive camera ScrapeMap that was created in the Create and Run Your First ScrapeMap video tutorial. But you can follow along with any ScrapeMap. However, in order to view log data, the ScrapeMap that you choose must have been run at least once. After opening the ScrapeMap, I'm going to open the ScrapeMap Properties dialog by clicking on the Properties button in the ScrapeMap toolbar. Choose the Log tab to view the log data for the ScrapeMap. The log data for a ScrapeMap describes each time that you have run the ScrapeMap. It tells you how many data addresses and actions you have in your ScrapeMap and how many data points were scraped and written for each. Also, the log will describe any problems that occurred while the ScrapeMap was running. Looking at our least expensive camera example, you'll see one row per ScrapeMap run. Click on a row and you'll see a detailed breakdown of how much data was scraped. The log is a useful tool to monitor the health and performance of your ScrapeMaps. Now let's take a look at the Details tab in the ScrapeMap Properties dialog. This tab contains detailed data about each instruction set, data address, and action in your ScrapeMap. You can edit these properties to change the behavior of your ScrapeMap. Clicking on the root instruction set gives you the option to edit that instruction set's description. You can also edit the root URL for this instruction set. This is the first web page that the ScrapeMap will navigate to. So change this value to scrape data from sites with the same layout. In our least expensive camera example, we could change this to search Nikon cameras instead of Canon cameras by pasting the URL for Nikon cameras into the instruction set URL field. Clicking on a data address lets you edit the properties of that address. Enabling Ignore Missing Data lessens the severity assigned to missing data notifications. By default, ScrapeMate will capture the text of a data address, but selecting Capture Link URL targets the URL of a data address. In the least expensive camera example, you'll notice this is the case for the camera URL data address. If isKeyDataAddress is enabled, ScrapeMate will use the scraped value of this address to match it to the data in the specified right location when updating an existing table. IsLabeled will be discussed in further detail in a later tutorial. Let's select OK to save our change to the root instruction set URL. In our least expensive camera example, if we close and open our ScrapeMap, you'll notice that instead of browsing to Canon cameras, we browse to Nikon cameras. If we run the ScrapeMap now, data about the least expensive Nikon camera will be written to our Excel file. This concludes the tutorial. Additional information about ScrapeMate's functionalities can be found in subsequent video tutorials or by browsing to ScrapeMate's Learning Center.